All right, welcome back to the Daily Exchange, day 3 of Consensus in New York. I'm joined today by Trevor Koverko, the co-founder of Polymath and the soon-to-be Polymesh, which we're about to talk about, and we'll be back just after this. Okay, welcome back and welcome to the show, Trevor.
Thanks a lot, guys. Good to be here.
It's great to have you on. We interviewed you last year about Polymath, which of course is a security token platform built on top of Ethereum.
Yep.
And you created the ST20 token standard on that?
We did.
Yep. But on that platform, I guess you were reverse engineering what Ethereum had given you to try and bring security tokens to Ethereum. And now, do you want to tell us what you're doing with Polymesh to kind of remedy that?
I do, and you've clearly done your research and appreciate that. And we started 2 years ago, and we started out, I had a fund, and my idea was to tokenize the fund and become the world's first dividend-paying crypto. Mm-hmm. That was my big idea. And it turns out that was actually a security, what I was trying to do.
Yep.
And doing a security that was wrapped in a token was actually very hard. And there's a lot of legal and technical considerations that you have to think about. So we kind of thought, what are we going to do to achieve this? And as we kept architecting this platform, we realized that a lot of other people had the same problem. Mm-hmm. So we said, instead of solving this micro little fund challenge, what if we build a platform that made it easy for anybody to launch an asset-backed token? So tokenize real estate, tokenize debt, tokenize stocks, literally anything that t-shirt you can tokenize, and we wanted to bring that to the masses. So once we did that, this time last year, we launched on stage. We've had over 100 security tokens launch on the platform, and it was 0 pretty much when we started. So mission accomplished in that regard.
And I think last time we spoke to you was 25, so a lot of growth just in that time frame.
It is, and it's all self-serve. It's all community-driven. We don't have like an advisory arm going out talking to people. That's how we like it. We want to be the factory that launches security tokens.
And so obviously this brings us to Polymesh. So you've done this with Charles Hoskinson, who obviously is one of the co-founders or original members of Ethereum, IOHK, and Cardano. And so can you tell us about how you kind of brought Charles into the project and why he's the right one to build this network with you?
Yeah, no, we're very fortunate. I cannot speak more highly of Charles. He's a dear friend of mine. I've known him for 5 years, since the very early days of Ethereum.
Yep.
When he was recruited in, he was actually the CEO of Ethereum for a time. And but it started kind of before that, because as we were building out Polymath, our layer 2 on top of Ethereum, and first of all, why did we go on Ethereum? Well, it was working. It was live.
Yep.
The infrastructure was already there, so we could get started right away. The industry was moving so fast, we didn't want to wait. So we could learn and iterate and experiment in the environment right away. But the challenge is, as we started to scale, as bigger issuers started to sign up, we started hearing problems from their point of view, problems with the anonymous nature of Ethereum, the decentralized nature of Ethereum, the immutability. These are all features of Ethereum, why we all love Ethereum, including me, but when it comes to security tokens, they're actually bugs.
Yeah. Because you need to be able to reissue a security if, say, it was stolen or something like that, right?
It's just practical problems, like if you're a pension fund that's tokenized and you lose your private keys, now grandma can't retire.
Jeez. Put it in those terms.
Yeah, it's just practical. It's good that we're getting to the practical problems now, not just the abstract technical problems. Another example is if you're a fund, a tokenized fund, like let's say a VC fund, and a bad actor gets a hold of a limited partner token that represents ownership of the fund, how do you unwind that transaction? The regulators especially are never going to be okay with an architecture that doesn't think of these things. So we thought, why not us? We're the most qualified in a lot of areas. We started the soonest. We have talked to the most amount of issuers and users. Why don't we think of a new custom-built solution that is just for security tokens?
So I can't, off the top of my head, think of a blockchain that's been built straight from the ground up for security tokens. I mean, I know that Ravencoin does security tokens, but it's kind of off the back of kind of Bitcoin code and that sort of stuff. Are you guys the first to really go ground up?
Yeah, we could be. There's a lot of great projects out
Yeah.
there, but what we learned is it's just needed. I
Yeah.
remember back in the day when Ethereum was launching right in my backyard in Toronto, and I was like, I don't know if this is needed. We have Bitcoin, and Bitcoin has cool things you can do, like colored coins. That was in vogue for a time where you could like tag tokens and make it kind of non-fungible.
Okay.
And looking back, it's silly. It's like, of course we need a Turing complete general purpose scripting language blockchain. I think the exact same thing's going to happen in the security token industry. Right now, there's a few folks that might say, oh, well, we already have Ethereum, and why would we need something new? And then looking back 5 years from now, we're going to be like, duh. And security tokens and utility tokens are
every
like
generation of technology. Look at the smartphone in your pocket. Like, could you have even thought that was possible, and that you'd need all these features in your pocket? So, let's talk numbers for a little bit. Like, the security token industry or asset token industry, whatever we want to call it, that's it's an industry that's ripe for disruption. What kind of figures, what kind of numbers do you project that this industry is going to generate or be worth in the next 5-10 years?
I always prefer to do bottom-up analysis of growth. A lot of people say, oh, the market's $20 trillion. If we just got 0.0001% of that, we'd be a $1 billion company.
Yeah.
That's kind of meaningless to me. I hear a lot of people in crypto talk about that. I'm like, okay. For us, it's just like, what verticals are we going to start at? Who's going to be our first issuers? Who's going to be our first 10, 100,000, 10,000, and so on? And we like areas like real estate. We think is ripe for tokenization. There's a lot of
like fractional ownership of a single property, that sort of stuff.
Also getting liquidity on there's investment trust REITs, but what about like smaller syndicates? It's harder to get liquidity on that for investors. I like funds of all kinds. I think take a venture fund. These things are usually illiquid by design for a decade. And
so you can't pull your money out.
And not only that, that's on the way out. On the way in, who's got access to these? It's just like tier 1 limited partner institutions.
I know that much.
Yeah, good. You want to get in Andreessen's next fund? Good luck. It's all the old boys club. And,
exactly.
And we think tokenizing funds of all kinds is going to democratize that whole process.
Yeah, that's
going to allow more access for people on the way in, and it's going to allow easier liquidity for people on the way out.
And it's nice to see that I think security tokens, like we had the ICO phase, and I'm very glad that it's over. Like, instead of utility tokens, we're going to start having things that have real tangible sort of assets attached to them. Not that there's anything wrong with utility tokens in general, but
You mean the magic money?
Yeah, the magic money that you just print. Yeah.
No, we're very, very big on decentralized technologies and ICOs, but we agree. Some other use cases, by the way, are, just for the audience, are things like tokenizing your cap table. So right now, if you have a company, a lot of places, your ownership lives on a piece of paper in a filing cabinet and it collects dust 24 hours a day. And now with tokens, these are programmable. They live on blockchains. They have programmability into it in the smart contract layer. So you can say, I want to automate dividends. I want to automate proxy voting. I want to automate clawbacks. I want to put like restrictions in for entrepreneurs that only get some of their funding on certain milestones. So you can like automate that whole process. Kind of like what Carta does digitally. We can take that another layer into the future. So that's number one. Number two is fundraising. So if you don't care about your cap table but you want money, you can launch an STO and you can sell the tokens to more crypto-minded investors in exchange for dollars or other crypto. And the third thing, which is probably the most important, is liquidity. And that's the promise of security tokens. You can really, like you said, fractionalize the ownership down into small bits and get liquidity globally. Like right now, even giant stock markets, they don't interface with each other. The New York Stock Exchange has its own tech stack and its own legal stack, and Chinese exchanges.
So I want to ask you about this. Do you think the industry is actually ready for this? Like, I mean, the technology's there and it's great and it's going to work. Like we see and know all the reasons why. But do you think the legacy industries or the legacy legal frameworks, are they ready?
This is a long-term vision, and it takes a while. A lot of the infrastructure that the Western capital markets lives on today was built and designed and architected and deployed in the 1980s. And a lot of it is like, it's like T0 it's not today. It's still T3, T2. Even simple things like sending wires and the SWIFT payment network. Like, I remember I was going to the bank to send a wire the other day, and I forgot to send the $30 fee, so that I had to go back, wait in line, fill out all these forms. and said another $30 with another $30 fee. And I'm like, this is silly. The blockchain allows you to leapfrog over all this legacy tech.
Yeah.
And it's especially important for developing nations because we can bitch about our own financial infrastructure, but it works and it's better. But globally, there's billions that don't even have a bank account.
Yeah.
And just like a lot of developing countries leapfrogged over landline infrastructure and went straight to wireless. Or with internet, they leaped straight over phone lines and then they went straight to fiber, went straight over fiber and went straight to Wi-Fi and wireless. So we think the same can apply for just capital markets in general.
So you think maybe it's not exactly we're in New York now, it's not for these markets that will really take it straight away, it's perhaps in these other markets. Is that sort of what you're thinking?
Yeah, I do. I also do think that just the interest we get on a daily basis in meetings. We just met with JP Morgan earlier today. These guys are really interested, and these institutions, they want to know.
Now they're really interested.
They're very interested in it from an asset allocation standpoint, from the fact it's not correlated to other assets, from the fact that it can streamline their business, it can actually save them money.
The amount of money that can be saved,
look at Microsoft, look at IBM, look at Microsoft, look at JP Morgan. They all have launched like significant internal initiatives around blockchain. So for us, it really comes down to one thing. We think, back to the security token side of things, we think the security tokens of the future are not going to live on blockchains of the past. And that's kind of what we boil our thesis down to.
So I've just got two questions for you before I let you go. Obviously, a big one that I have to ask is, what does Polymesh mean for perhaps token holders of Polymath?
Yeah, no, we are thinking very long and hard. We have very exceptional game theorists and mechanism design people and token design people helping us think through this. We have a lot of things still left for debate, but we do have a commitment to the utility of Poly, and that's kind of my mission, is making sure that whatever we do increases that utility. And we fully intend to have a process whereby our existing Poly holders can upgrade seamlessly to the next mainnet version of Poly.
That's fantastic to hear. So the last question I have for you, it's one that we ask everyone that comes on the show. And I'm pretty sure I remember being asked it last time when your phone rang. I think you're like, that's my lawyer telling me not to answer it. Is, what do you think the price of Bitcoin will be when the clock strikes 12 on New Year's Eve this year?
Two questions. I'm good with Bitcoin predictions. I think that's allowed. I hear a lot of the Silicon Valley guys make predictions. They have bigger lawyers than I do.
I think Novogratz is making predictions every month on CNBC. He doesn't care, man.
This is what I see. First of all, I personally tell people and myself to just average it. So here's what you do. You think about 5 years from now, is the price going to be higher or lower than it is today? If it's higher, then get started right now and just average in a small amount every cycle, whether that's monthly,
dollar cost
quarterly.
averaging.
Dollar cost averaging, that's so important. Don't try to time the market. Don't be volatile. I really think Bitcoin as a store of value is going to continue to emerge. And I could see...
So maybe, let me rephrase it. Why don't you give us a 5-year prediction?
Just as I was ready for the first year, I got 5.
Go both.
I'm going to go, what are we halfway through the year here?
Yeah.
Halfway through the year, we're coming up on 10K. I see 20K by the end of the year.
Nice.
That's close to all-time highs.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. But I really do. It's not going to take that much institutional capital to move the needle. And 5 years from now, here's my qualifier. I'm not convinced that the core development team is going to be able to keep Bitcoin together. And not I have nothing against them, but with the forks and with all the competing, if there's one main chain and there's not too much turmoil, I think you could add another zero to the 20K.
That's an interesting way of looking at it.
You need that network effect. You need that one leading.
You do. You need one
chain.
Source of truth.
And then everything will kind of go from there. 5 years, man. That's like 30 years in crypto. Years.
I think that's a good way of putting it.
I should have made you guess first.
No. I don't do the guessing.
Gosh, in my calendar, it's going to be 200K. What's that? What would that market cap be? That's how many orders of magnitude? That's another 100 billion. So that's $1 trillion. No, we could get $1 trillion. That's like a tenth of gold. We could get there in 5 years. Yeah,
a tenth of gold in 5 years.
Yeah, let's go. Done.
Let's do it.
Lock it in.
Thanks so much for coming on,
Thanks,
man.
Guys.
That was great. And we'll be back with more after this.